So now, after having Eazy-E sign over the Ruthless Artists, you guys now had the green light to go forward with Death Row Records.
Yeah.
And originally, I think it was with Solar Records was partnered with Death Row.
Yeah.
Dick Griffey and so forth. And I interviewed, who later became the president of Solar Records, and he told me about kind of the details of it. There was a situation in the studio where someone was using the phone. Do you know about this? Where Suge made those guys strip?
That night, Suge comes into the building, goes up to the third floor, and one of the Stanley brothers was on the phone. That he asked the guy to get off the phone, and he said, and I think the Stanley brothers had been part of the World Class Wrecking Crew, and they were actually there to try and get Dre, who by then is becoming known as a hit producer, to do something for them. And so he tells Suge, he didn't know who Suge really was. He said, "Hey, look, I'm one of Dre's guests. Go talk to him." And Suge said, "I don't talk to him. I run this." He said, "Man, go, leave me alone." So Suge apparently goes out, goes back downstairs to his car, gets a gun, comes back, puts the gun to his head, and says, "Motherfucker, I told you to get off the phone." So then he hangs up the phone. Suge brings him into the studio and has everybody, people from the rehearsal, he said, "I want you all to come in here." And he said, "This is what's going to happen if you use that phone." Tells the guy, take off his clothes. And he says, "I'm not taking off my clothes." So then he shoots the gun he has by the guy's ear. Then he has a guy undress, and he says, "Could fuck you up, but I'm not going to do that. But I know where you live. I got your driver's license. I know where your mama lives. And this is just a lesson for all of you all. If you use that phone, I'm going to fuck you up."
No.
Okay, you don't know about that.
What year was that?
Not sure. There were Solar Studios, and
we did so much. I mean, we did a lot of things, and a lot of people was punked. A lot of people got slapped. A lot of people. Death Row was Death Row, and a lot of people got bullied into a lot of shit.
Okay. So you guys are working, Death Row is working on The Chronic. And Suge is associating with you and the other Pirus at this point. Was Suge ever made a Piru himself, or was he just the money guy?
Suge was the money guy. Suge was never, like I said, when we did Budweiser Superfest, he asked me how many bloods I can get, how many you want, and from there, with his money and everybody cleaned to Suge, because now he got money. Now, okay, I'm gonna buy you this, I'm gonna take care of this. That's how Suge bought his way in. Now I got my brother and all these guys coming from the penitentiary, and the guys that my brother brought. It was, you couldn't look at Suge wrong. So now they accept Suge as one of us. He live in the neighborhood. He been living in the neighborhood, so he's one of us.
Right.
But farthest, putting in, breaking bread in the neighborhood, he never did that. So his money
Right.
got him in that.
Well, I mean, he wore red suits. He had a mob ring.
All that came way after.
Okay.
All that came after my brother came. Before that, when we first started, Suge, if you look at all his videos, Suge had either a gray suit or a black or something like that. When the muscle got there, you couldn't look at him. When the muscle came, that's when the suit changed. Excuse me, the suit changed. The cigars, the rings. Mm-hmm. That's when all that came. So when he felt untouchable, that's when Suge Knight changed. That's when the big Suge came.
Mm-hmm. Well, I interviewed Reggie Wright, and he said the way that he linked up with Suge was
We had got intel that a few of the guys that was working for Death Row Records was planning on robbing and kidnapping Suge or holding them for ransom.
one of his employees?
Yes, homeboys.
Okay. Quasi-employees.
Yeah.
Were planning on kidnapping him and
robbing him.
ransoming him.
Yes.
Trying to get a ransom for him.
Correct.
Okay.
My father got that intel.
Yeah.
Do you know about that situation?
Yeah. Well, at that point, it was a lot of guys in the neighborhood that wasn't getting nothing, and it was some that was getting $300-400 every 2 weeks. Now everybody knowing what's happening. So here you have P. Miller give all his partners $1 million and tell them to do what they gonna do. Well, we know Suge got it. Why Suge ain't did that? So a lot of the guys was like, let's just kidnap his ass and get our money and say, fuck this dude. But then you had some that said, no, he good, that's the homie, woo, woo, woo. So it didn't happen, but you had a lot of those guys talking to Reggie Wright because they senior, because they got a lot of respect for him. And they just put him up on it and they told him.
Right. And ultimately, it never happened.
No. Well, I mean, he was getting it. I mean, he was being extorted too. I mean, that's how I was getting my money from him.
Okay, because I guess you said that whenever you'd get mad at him,
I get a check.
you'd get a check.
Mm-hmm.
How much would you get, like, during these various incidents?
Well, $1,500, $1,000. Depends on how many times. One time I got mad at him. He said some stupid shit, and we had the hydraulic shop. Let me ride hydraulics, and I think my brother Buncher came in there to get some parts or something. And he said, "This is for the homies," and I got mad at him, and we started arguing. Come to the office. I got something for you. I took Dr. Dre 64 Chevy. Come to the office, I got something for you. I ain't giving you back the car. So I got a check, and then he wanted the car. I ain't giving you the car until I get another check. And I worked him that way. I made more money being mad at him than I did working for him.
You know, Reggie Wright Jr. was essentially the head of Death Row, police security. Were you kind of the head of Death Row street security?
At the beginning, yes. Until my brother, till Buncher came. Mm-hmm. And when I told Buncher, you gonna go out of town with Suge and you flying with Suge and this and that, that's when I pretty much was set. I'm in the backgrounds now. Mm-hmm. And Buncher was his right-hand man at that time.